Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus, entering the last half hour of the show on this Tuesday. We're picked back up with our girl Courtney Mims joining us from Little Rock. So first, before we jump back into talking about Arkansas and the Hogs, Sam Pittman and Hunurachek and all the drama over there, I'd like to give our girls some kudos here. Now the sports director in Little Rock, so doing big things there in Arkansas. Of course, the biggest market. Courtney, tell us a little bit about your new role, what it all entails, kind of having to balance several hats, not only in the SEC, but out of the SEC. What's life like? And congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I kind of said, you know what? I've enjoyed being in Arkansas for the past 4 years. I just wanted to expand on my coverage here. Nice. So it was kind of like, you know what? There was an opportunity to come over to Little Rock, the state capital, and cover sports here. And here over in Little Rock, it's just there's so much more than just the Razorbacks, right? In Fayetteville, it's really highly, you have the Hogs.
That's all they got.
And that's it, right? And so over
that's all
here,
they have.
That's all they have. And so now you come over to Little Rock and you're getting to cover Arkansas State. Like I got to go to Jonesboro and interview Butch Jones the same day he was on your show.
I know, that was ironic. I love that because I texted you and you're like, hey, I was she sent a picture of his office. She's like, I was here today. And I'm like, this is like the match made in heaven for that. I just loved that so much.
It was. And so we get to cover Arkansas State. We get to cover some of the other amazing football teams here. You know, we've got UCA, we've got UAPB, we've got Harding, who it consistently is good in D2 and winning national titles there. So there's a lot of amazing things, not to mention the high school sports and how good they are at high school basketball here and all the different recruits that are being looked at by schools across the country. So I'm very excited to get started here. And it's been so much fun the first couple of weeks here. So
yeah. And then in your first week or first couple of weeks, a huge announcement comes out. And take a look at this, guys. Our girl Courtney Mims gets her first ever Emmy nomination. This is amazing. Courtney, I wanted to make sure that we know exactly what this entails. Tell us about this story. I know we have a preview of it we'll talk about and show in a minute, but tell us a little bit about what the Path of Champions is.
Yeah, so we decided about a year ago that the 30th anniversary of Arkansas's national championship in basketball, that 1994 national title that Nolan Richardson and that team won, we wanted to commemorate it. And they were doing a bunch of 30th anniversary events. And I kind of said, look, we could go live from all those events and do that. Or what about if we did on the day a look back at how they got there, how they did that, the path of champions, right? That's how we got the name. I wanted to show you this path of how they got there because everybody knows, okay, they want to talk about the Duke matchup. Okay, I get it, but there were so many other matchups on that run that were so fun, that had a lot of lore. I got to talk to Corliss Williamson, Big Nasty. I got to talk to Scotty Thurman, got to talk to Nolan Richardson about it. And it was just so much fun to get to put that together, especially me as such a basketball fan. Growing up around the sport my entire life, this was a dream come true for me. And so it really was a passion project that I wasn't going to submit for an Emmy. I was just kind of like, I loved it. It was so beautiful. And it was somebody who had watched it, a viewer that said, look, this needs some recognition because this was so cool and such a cool project. And so I'm so thankful that the committee decided to say, you know what, we like this too. We think this is a good thing too. And I'm so thankful for the nomination, seriously.
Well, I would love to take a look at some of it. I've not even got a chance to see this. I know I've heard incredible things about it, but let's take a little bit of a preview of what this all entails, and then Courtney can tell us how it is that viewers can go see all of this piece. Take a listen.
When you have a legacy, this is something that you talk about several times throughout the year, not just 25 years, not just 35. This is something that people's going to always talk about because, we was one of the first to do it. And I hope we're not the last, but this is something that you can't never get tired of talking about.
And we're still talking about it. 30 years later, Dave England said to me, when you look up a complete team in the dictionary, a picture of this team should show up right next to it. That was what was so special about this group.
Courtney, as we have seen, each one of those 6 opponents offered a different challenge. That's what makes winning the NCAA basketball tournament so difficult. It's why the top seeds often fall short along the way. So what did this team have It was missing in the Miller, Mayberry, and Day bunch, which got the ball rolling in the late 80s, but couldn't climb those final steps to the title. Well, ironically, it was the same thing missing the year before the title run. Bigs who could play with their backs to the basket.
Courtney, I was going to date myself here now. I told these guys during the sound that as a kid I remember watching those Nolan Ryan teams from way back in the day. What did you glean from the 40 minutes of hell and just the way that they played basketball and just the style that they brought game in and game out, and of course on that championship run?
Well, you just said it, the 40 minutes of hell. My dad being a basketball coach for all his life and getting to grow up, seeing the game a little bit closer, I know he did. And when I was growing up, idolized Nolan Richardson and the way he played and just putting the pressure on for 40 minutes, playing aggressive, not backing down. And it's not just a way you play, right? Yeah. That was what Nolan said to me. It's a mentality. It was never always about what you did on the court. It was a mentality that you had throughout the locker room. Yeah. And that's what really propelled them on that championship run. When we got to sit down with Nolan, he looks back on it and he goes, yeah, everybody wants to talk about the actual national championship game, that Duke ball game, which, guys, there's so much lore in that everybody knows, where some analysis said the smarter team will win and that Arkansas took that to heart and all of that. And so there's so much lore there, but at the beginning of the run, just how scrappy those games were, that there was a fight that broke out and one of them, Scotty Thurman, gets kicked out of the game. And it's it was this mentality of, wow, we are going to do this no matter what it takes. And that is 40 minutes of hell. It's not just putting the pressure on the court. It's just having the mentality of, you know what? We are the better team and we are going to win this game.
Is there a way that folks can view that entire piece? I'm sure it's online somewhere, and where would that be?
Yeah, you can go watch it on YouTube. You can go watch it on our website as well. I know a lot of people have watched it on YouTube just because it's there and it's full entirety. But if you I guess Google or search Pig Trail Nation Path of Champions, it'll pop right up. It's right around 23 minutes or so, 22 minutes, not super long. But I promise you, if you want to look back and some cool memories and stories that you may not have heard of on that 94 run, I recommend giving it a watch. I learned a lot that I didn't know, and it was really cool.
Talking about basketball in present day, and I promise I know that we're in the middle of football season, but also being a basketball girl myself, I can't help but at least ask. I thought that I would about fall out when I saw John Calipari wearing a red jacket the first time. And I mean, honestly, I almost did. I about fell out. I never forget it. My brain and my eyes were not, there was an issue with what I was looking at after years and years and years, of course, with time to run and what he was doing there in Kentucky. What has it been like covering Calipari, Coach Cal, at Arkansas? And is it still, it's so weird to even say those words, to be honest with you. It's still just strange.
Simone, you bring up a great thing about seeing him in red, because there was a whole scandal like last year, not really a scandal, but like it was like Jacket Gate for Calipari. It was like Jacket Watch, because one time, I'm telling you, he was wearing red. He was wearing all these red suits. And one time, I think he just cycled through to a blue suit just because he had
that was
one.
Like the next thing in the closet, yeah.
Because he wore like red with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like accent color, yeah.
Right, but he wore a blue suit, and it got the fan base. They were like, "Oh, he still cares about Kentucky."
Oh my gosh,
this is bad.
Were they playing Kentucky by chance? Because that would have been really fun.
They were not. They were not. When he made
his
return, I was there in Rep Arena when he made his return there, and oh my goodness. That was an atmosphere that I will never forget. I'm so happy I have that moment so I can tell my kids about it, because it was so crazy that Kentucky is warming up on the court. That's their team. That is their team. That's their current team with their current head coach. And everyone's looking at one of the tunnels. And it's because Coach Calipari is about to walk out of that tunnel. And nobody in that arena cared that Kentucky was warming up. They wanted to see Coach Cal. And so I think that was just a really special moment that nobody really I can't even capture it by telling you. We were being told to get off the court because the Kentucky was warming up and they had to warm up. And Mark Pope was like, get them off our court. And they
Mark
couldn't.
Bolt's like, hello, can y'all move on, please? Can everyone move on, please? Everyone move on. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. No one's coming out of that tunnel. No one is, but everyone wanted to get the reaction.
Yeah,
it was phones everywhere pointed towards the tunnel. And I just remember Cal coming out with this little like smirk. And it was just this little smirk that he had towards the camera. And it was just, he was enjoying every moment of it. And then Arkansas goes and beats Kentucky. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy. And so it was a great moment, but it's been great to cover him. I actually just got to speak with him last Thursday. And he's just so happy to be here. I think he's relieved that he doesn't have the pressure of coaching at Kentucky anymore. He still has pressure, but it's not the pressure of coaching at Kentucky. And the fan base was getting very, I don't want to say nasty towards him, but they were kind of fed up. Yeah. Right.
No doubt.
And
it got toxic. Yeah, for sure.
It got toxic. It got toxic. And so I think he's just happy to be in a place where everybody all day is going, man, we have Coach Cal. This is awesome. This is great.
They're happy to be here. They're just like, hey, everyone knows this guy. They know who he is. They know his name.
and the joke is that they hated him for so long, but now they're happy to have him as their coach. Like, we used to hate you, but now we love you. So it's fine.
You're our guy now. You're our guy. And we're going to play some sound from the athletic director, and I don't want to step on the sound because it's great in and of itself, but it kind of goes to the notion of Arkansas wanting to be kind of an everything school. Not like Kentucky where it's purely basketball, or Kansas where it's purely basketball, or Duke, and no disrespect for the other programs, and not like an Alabama or Oklahoma or Michigan where it's hyper fixated on football. But Arkansas believes that they could be one of those teams that kind of competes in no matter what season you're in, your fall, winter, spring. Talk a little bit about that now that you're on the outside looking at it from Little Rock and seeing it from a state perspective and not hyper-focused right there in Fayetteville, just on how they think their athletics program can be.
Well, yeah, they definitely are an everything school. That's what they want to brand themselves as. The problem with being an everything school is that you're not funneling all that money, and that's where Hunter Yurachek is kind of in a rock and a hard place, so to speak. And I understand why people are upset with him right now and upset with the soundbite that we're going to play, because while he had good intentions in saying these things, people are very upset that they have the reality is that yes, basketball and baseball, yeah, they're all good, and track and field has won 39 national titles or whatever it is now, and so yes, there's a lot of good sports at the University of Arkansas, but that means that you're not going to be great in a single one of them, right? If you're good at all of them, you might not be great at a single one. So they're still hunting for a national title in basketball. It's the last one being 30 years ago is not great. Not great.
Let's
so
listen
you
to
got to have one now.
Yeah, let's take a listen to this sound and get some reaction from them.
There's a big canyon within the SEC where we sit at a $181 million budget. There's multiple schools that are over $300 million for their operating budget this year. That's within the same conference. But at the same time, I'll tell you, I know the focus is on football and we all want to win in football, but at the same time, those schools have been outspending us for the last decade, and we've still won more SEC championships among more sports than any school in the SEC. And so I think we're doing just fine at the University of Arkansas, and I think we're set up to win a national championship in men's basketball moving forward. We know we're set up to win a national championship in baseball moving forward, and I think we're set up in several other sports to win a national championship. Football, where we are right now, we're not set up to win a national championship. I'll just be brutally honest with that. But I think we're set up to compete really well in the Southeastern Conference.
Hot dang.
I know.
I wanted to say not dang, but wow. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. And I think none bigger, Courtney, I mean, you set this up perfectly. And it is really, when you are good at everything and solid at everything, you're in everything school. I'm not going to say you're in nothing school. That's dramatic. But then at the end of the day, I don't think anyone can disagree with this on this show right now. You win a baseball national title, you're happy for a week. You win a basketball national title, you're happy for a month. You win a football national title, you're happy for life. You win a football national title, and you're happy for life. That is how fans are in the SEC. Baseball, we're really proud of it. Yeah, okay, great. We're gonna be out there a couple games a week, get our hot dog, get our popcorn, and man, go Hogs, right? And be in there in Hoover, Alabama, and be excited to win an SEC title and all this stuff. That's great. Football changes your school. football changes the landscape of the rest of the trajectory of the university. And I think that when Hunter Yurachek ends that statement by saying we're not there yet, that's not what you. I mean, he's honest. But that's not what you want to have to be saying either. And in this day and age with NIL, Courtney, I'm not sure there's a path to be able to be great at everything anymore.
And you're exactly right, Simone. And I also want to say this to Hunters. I think we understand the sentiment. You just didn't need to say it out loud, so to speak, because here's the thing. That doesn't help you with recruiting. That doesn't say to football players, well, if our own AD doesn't think we're set up to win a national title, why would I? Yeah. Why would I want to come play there? Why would I want to come? That football players go to a school going, I'm going to win a national title. Look at Diego Pavia. If you've seen anything of what he said, he's like, he truly believes Vanderbilt can win a national title.
Honestly, he did say that. He did say that.
He truly believes that, and that's great. I 100% give him props for that.
Yeah,
but
everyone can dream.
You don't want your AD saying that you're not going to win a national title or not set up. And here's the other thing, Simone. We talk about the SEC. We're on a show about it, right? And the SEC, quite frankly, is the top conference and should be. Football, and I know people disagree with that. I know, I get it. I understand, but it should be the top conference in football. And so if you're set up to compete in the SEC, in one of the top conferences in football, in the top conference, in my opinion, in football, why are you not set up to win a national title? Yep. Because if you're good enough to compete in the SEC, which he says, you should also be good enough to compete for a national title. That doesn't make sense to me.
You're spot on. And I don't really know what, and we gotta go to break in a second. And Courtney, you make a lot of really great points. And I think that when he does say there's a $300 million budget over here, at the end of the day, players are going to go nowadays where it is that they can get paid. And going into next season, as we've talked about in this show several times, that cap is going to be on every program. And that $20.5 million that they have to divvy up between athletic programs, that is where Arkansas, I think, is going to have to make some tough decisions, because there are schools in the SEC that are putting 18 of those 20.5 to football alone. And just wait, because you do that at Arkansas, you're not going to have the best of the best baseball anymore. You're not going to have the top echelon in basketball anymore. And you're going to have ticked off John Calipari's because he doesn't have the budget that he had before it was all legal when he had it at Kentucky.
And this is where I'm also going to say something else Hunter Yurachek said that's putting him under fire right now, is that he said that, he talked about college sports right now as like driving down a highway, that there are so many of us that if we know there's no comp on that highway, we might speed, right? We might go 65 on a 50, right? Or we might go 70 on a 50 if you're really, pedal to the metal, right? He said there's a lot of schools that are doing that right now, knowing that there are no cops on the road. They're going into a third lane and they're speeding. Right? He said, Arkansas, we're not going to do that because I think that's a really dangerous place to be. What if when when push comes to shove, things come down on us and then suddenly they decide, okay, Arkansas, you weren't going, on the straight and narrow. You weren't following the rules. You get a 5-year bowl ban. Or something. Whatever the punishment is, we don't know right now. But that's what he's saying, is that some people are operating right now. They're going outside that $20.5 billion or $20.5 million. They're saying he's talking about over $300 million in revenue. That's a Texas, right? Texas pulling in $333 million by what I was told. That's their revenue, which they're not spending $333 million to keep all of their athletics afloat. There is revenue being generated there. Rather than Arkansas, where they're making $181 million, they're spending $181 million. There's no extra revenue to share with these athletes. So I think it's really going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward, because you have certain teams or certain programs that are operating in this third lane that Hunter Yurachek is saying. And what Razorback fans are upset about is, hey, Hunter, if other teams and other programs are operating in the third lane, we should be too.
Scared money don't make money.
Exactly.
There you go.
And that's all I'm saying. Scared money don't make money, Mr. Yurachek, and you got Walmart. That's all I got to say about that. And Tyson. Or whatever it is that y'all got out there. But you ain't take your violin. I'm going to kick a hole in it. I don't want to hear about it anymore, all right? I mean, Courtney, exactly. Appreciate the sentiment, my guy, but you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Courtney, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on all your success, all the accolades, well-deserved. We're super proud of you, grateful for your time, and looking forward to continuing this conversation about Arkansas, man. It's one of those programs that we do not know what we're going to get week to week, but we know it's going to be entertaining. Especially if we're talking to you.
It absolutely is. And we'll make it entertaining for the people out there watching the show. Thank you guys for having me on. As always, really appreciate the time and the kindness of you guys as well. I always enjoy coming on the show.